Israel's defense forces asked residents to evacuate. Plus, we look back on Hispanic Heritage Month.
And a free one-day class here at UTC for you and your pets. All this coming up on Mocs News. Stay with us.
I'm Gabby Shelton.
And I'm Lillian Simcox. Thanks for joining us. This past Tuesday, a 40-foot high pile of scrap metal caught fire in Jardau Metals Recycling at 2912 South Market Street. Market Street had to be closed down for a bit so the Chattanooga Fire Department could put out the fire. Investigators learned that a cutting torch ignited the fire during a work shift. Thankfully, no one was harmed in the making nor extinguishing of the fire. The fire created a massive plume of smoke that could have been seen for miles. The smoke plume blew away from Chattanooga, so the area will not be as affected by the smoke plume's harmful effects.
Just today, Israel's Defense Ministry and Defense Forces asked residents to evacuate North Israeli border in fear of creating a regional war, saying that the neighboring Islamist militant group Hezbollah resides in southern Lebanon. This week, President Joe Biden met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to discuss aid for the Gaza Strip. For 2 weeks now, Gaza has been fully blockaded with no resources going in or out. Netanyahu said he will not lift its siege until its 200 hostages are released. If Israel agrees, Gaza's Palestinians will receive food, water, and medicine through Egypt's Rafah border. On Thursday, Biden addressed the national calling for support on the ongoing Ukrainian and Israeli war because it is vital for America's national security. Today, he sent Congress an urgent budget request to provide financial support of $105 billion for its allies.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We're facing an inflection point in history. One of those moments where the decisions we make today are going to determine the future for decades to come. That's what I'd like to talk with you about tonight. You know, early this morning, I returned from Israel. They tell me I'm the first American president to travel there during the war. I met with the Prime Minister and members of his cabinet. And most movingly, I met with Israelis who had personally lived through horrific horror of the attack by Hamas on the 7th of October. More than 1,300 people slaughtered in Israel, including at least 32 American citizens. Scores of innocents, from infants to the elderly grandparents. Israelis, Americans taken hostage. As I told the families of Americans being held captive by Hamas, we're pursuing every avenue to bring their loved ones home. As president, there is no higher priority for me than the safety of Americans held hostage. I also spoke with President Abbas, the Palestinian Authority, and reiterated that the United States remains committed to the Palestinian people's right to dignity and to self-determination. The actions of Hamas terrorists don't take that right away. Like so many other, I'm heartbroken by the tragic loss of Palestinian life, including the explosion at the hospital in Gaza, which was not done by the Israelis. We mourn every innocent life lost. We can't ignore the humanity of innocent Palestinians who only want to live in peace and have an opportunity.
The grand old party remains divided in the House. After Louisiana's Steve Scalise dropped out of the Speaker of the House running, it was up to Jim Jordan of Ohio to win the bid. However, many Republicans vowed to not vote for this ultra-conservative representative. Jordan failed to earn the vote twice, and on Thursday he said he would not run until he was certain he would win, even offering the option to expand pro tempore's powers. Just a few hours later, in a turn of events, he vowed to stay in the race, and Republicans scrapped the idea of giving interim Speaker Patrick McHenry more power. Today, he lost his third bid. This is now 2 weeks of Congress without a speaker. Meanwhile, U.S. allies continue to be at war, and the government shutdown is creeping ahead. Many of you may remember the story of Natalie Holloway, an Alabama teen who disappeared during her senior trip in Aruba in 2005. The primary suspect, Joran van der Sloot, a Dutch teen, had met with the Holloway and her friends on their last night of vacation. He was seen drinking and dancing with Holloway until early morning. Natalie Holloway was seen leaving in a car with Vandersloot and 2 of his friends and was never heard from again. In 2012, Natalie Holloway was legally declared dead. To become more informed on the entirety of the timeline of Natalie Holloway's case, go to biography.com and search Holloway.
On Wednesday, October 18th, Johan Vandersloot finally confessed to the gruesome murder of Natalie Holloway during his guilty plea in an extortion and wire fraud case targeting Holloway. In 2010, he solicited money from Beth Holloway, Natalie's mother, on a promise that he would tell her where her daughter's remains could be found. These were proven to be empty promises.
Due to Vandersloot's plea bargain, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for extortion along with a 28-year prison sentence in Peru given in 2012 for killing another young woman, Stephanie Flores, in 2010. Unfortunately, he cannot be persecuted for Natalie Holloway's murder as the limitation for murder in Aruba is 12 years. Vandersloot's sentencing details include serving out his U.S. sentence in the Peruvian custody, not re-entering the U.S. without permission of Homeland Security, being forever refused admission to enter the U.S., and more. Judge Mansco has ordered that Vandersloot be removed from American soil as soon as possible.
However, with that being said and done, 18 years later, Natalie Holloway's mother is so grateful for answers and seems satisfied with the measure of justice they could get. Beth Holloway was finally able to say, "I can say for certainty, after 18 years, Natalie's case is solved. We finally got justice for Natalie." Hispanic Heritage Month has come to an end. Let's look back on the memorable events Hola and the Multicultural Center hosted for this year's Hispanic Heritage Month. The Hispanic Leadership Association, or HOLA, began their Hispanic Heritage Month kickoff September 16th. They welcomed students with pins and Latin candy. HOLA also partnered up with the Multicultural Center and hosted their annual Latin Dance Night. Many of the HOLA members showcased and even taught their dances to others. They held an event called Hispanic Heritage Month for Dummies and discussed the history of Hispanic Heritage Month as well as important figures. Following the presentation, activities like Singo and a traditional Latin game of Loteria were played amid an assortment of Latin music. UTC welcomed a special guest this past Tuesday, Dr. Cynthia Orozco, an award-winning and best-selling author, hosted a luncheon for fellow students and also discussed Mexican-American civil rights later that evening.
There was a fellow, again, Perales died in 1960, but you know what? His papers, his archives, did not get to a library till 2009.
Dr. Orozco gave out free books to the first 15 people that RSVP'd and had a small book signing. This Hispanic Heritage Month was quite a buzz around campus, and we hope for future events like this for the remainder of the year.
Well, it seems like temperatures have stayed pretty cool over the past week.
Hopefully it stays that way. Let's head over to our Gabriel Harris for a full weather report. Gabriel?
As we know, this week has been mostly cloudy, but the skies will clear up next week, giving way to warmer days, allowing us to see those nice fall colors. Today will be cloudy with a high at 73 and a low of 47. This weekend, the sun will be shining and giving us highs of 78 and 73, with lows dropping to 51 and 46. In the next week, we will see some clouds on Monday and Thursday, but the temperatures remain in the high 70s throughout, with lows in the 40s and 50s. Nashville, Chattanooga, and Knoxville will see temperatures in the 70s. Meanwhile, Memphis remains warm with a temperature of 86. But Johnson City is at the opposite end, having weekend highs at 64. Y'all stay warm up there. That's all for weather. Gabby and Lillian, back to you.
UTC's rocket Mocs are once again shooting for the stars while being recognized as one of the best in the country by NASA. They are competing in a 9-month-long national competition creating high-powered rockets. Tune in next week to find out about their journey to the top.
Have a love for all things leaves and four legs? Come on out to a free gardening class that's open to you and your pets on October 21st in Chattanooga. This presentation will be brought to you and your furry loved ones by the Master Gardener Juanita Wade. She will be teaching all about the different kinds of indoor or outdoor plants that could be toxic to your pets and will cheerfully give great alternatives to help a healthy environment in your home for those plants and paws. The class will be held at 10 a.m. UT Hamilton County Extension, 6183 Adamson Circle off Bonnie Oaks Drive in Chattanooga. Make sure you register at www.mghc.org/public-classes. The Mocs are 20th ranked and play their biggest rival, ETSU, tomorrow at 1 p.m. The theme is whiteout, so plan to wear your best white outfits. Senior Clayton Cryle is the FedEx Ground National Special Teams Player of the Week. His season best is a 48.8-yard punt average, dropping 3 inside the 20 at the Mercer game, which UTC won 22-10, according to Mocs Athletics.
The wrestling team will make an appearance due to its blue and gold matches beginning at 10 a.m. during the football tailgate in the First Horizon Pavilion. This weekend, junior Noah Castillo will head to Albania for the World Championship representing Puerto Rico. Big congratulations to this outstanding mock. The team's official season begins November at the Southeast Open.
Our soccer Mocs fell 2-1 against the University of North Carolina Greensboro and is now tied with Furman for 4th in the Southern Conference. They play Samford this coming Sunday to finish off the regular season. Be sure to check out Mocs on the UTC Athletics page for more info on UTC's athletics. That does it for this edition of Mocs News. Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram at Mocs News at UTC. We'll be here for your next Friday.